down on the chair, ideally, the chair fits you. If when you sit on the chair, your thighs slope down away from you, you probably have a really tall chair. And if you have a really tall chair and your feet are floating or your thighs slope down and away from you, you might consider 2 blocks, 1 for each foot, so that you have a nice flat lap. Also, if your chair is too low and your lap is too high, then you elevate your hips, putting blocks on top of your chairs or folded blanket, stack of towels on top of your chairs. Again, customize the height of your seat so that you have a nice flat lap. And then let your feet be a comfortable distance apart. And that might be about as wide apart as standard yoga mat, maybe a little wider. Probably not any narrower than that for most of us. And inch your toes forward. I'm going to move my toys out of the way so you can see my feet better. Inch your toes forward so that your knees are directly over your heels. Your toes stick out past your knees. And then just kind of hang out. Shift your weight forward. And notice when you put your elbows on your lap, do your knees wing apart a little wider? Well, then you're going to take your feet a little wider. You want to find the width so that when you just kind of lean into it, your shins are straight up and down. They're not collapsing in. They're not winging out to the side. You've customized the width between your feet so that you can just settle in and be and have your shins vertical, knees directly over your heels, toes sticking out past your knees. And with your elbows resting on your lap, let your head hang. No reason to look at me. There's really nothing going on here. Let your shoulders shrug all the way up by your ears, and then pull your shoulder blades down your back. So the sides and the back of your neck are long. Your chin is tucked to your chest, and you're going to do that shoulder shrug, that shoulder roll again. Hunch your shoulders up towards your ears. Pull your shoulder blades onto your back, and then slide those shoulders down into your waistband, all the while head hanging, chin tucked to your chest. And how about 2 more long, exaggerated, deep shoulder shrugs, rolling those shoulders back and down. One more time. Meet me at the end here with shoulder blades down your back. The sides and the back of your neck are long. And then press your elbows into your lap and lift your heart away from the ground so that you really spread between your shoulder blades. If I were to pet the back of your shirt right now, it would be broad, wide, and wrinkle-free. No back cleavage. Elbows pressing into your lap, head hanging heavy. And let your head sway side to side. So one ear to one shoulder, then the other ear to the other shoulder. All the while you're still looking down, letting your head swing from side to side. Shoulders pulled back away from your ears. And as you do this, you might feel some crunching, some cracking, a little neck stretching going on here. So it's kind of like you're rubbing your chin hairs against your chest hairs. Letting your head swing from side to side. Then continue to melt forward. Let your hands slide down through the insides of your legs. And hopefully you have blocks nearby, or you have long enough arms so that your hands touch down on something. So hands might rest on blocks, or the hands might rest on the floor. And you're still coming into this slow motion forward fold, diving down between your legs. And ideally, your legs are spaced optimally so that your knees stay over your heels. Your knees aren't falling open out to the sides. You're just melting down through your legs into a forward fold dive. Head still hanging, shoulders still pinned back away from your ears, and settling in. Going as far forward as you're going to go, and then settle in and twist your head like you're unscrewing a light bulb, dumping your brains out onto the mat between your feet. So if you had a unicorn horn, you would be screwing that unicorn horn into the ground. All the while, you are supporting some of the weight of your torso by using your arms. Hands on the floor, arms straight up and down. And then settle into neutral and take a nice deep belly breath. And again, deep belly breaths. And move your breath and awareness up into your ribs, breathing into your back ribs. your side ribs, maybe even your front ribs. Big rib cage breath. How about one more of those deep rib cage breaths? And then with your head hanging very heavy, breathe into that space between your shoulder blades. Pull your shoulders away from your ears. Still support your torso with your hands on something. And breathe into that space between your shoulder blades across your upper back. Head still very heavy. Arms straight, hands supporting you. Notice your breath as you breathe, full body breath. Breathing into your belly, breathing into your ribs, breathing into the space between your shoulder blades. Notice that as you inhale, you tend to bob up a little bit. And as you exhale, you kind of melt down. How about 2 more bobbing and melting breaths? Still in this forward fold, this dive, your head still hanging. With your next inhalation, bob up. Put one hand, both hands on your lap, and exhale, melt. With your next inhale, push into your hands, lift up about halfway. And exhale, melt a little bit. And then with your next inhale, push all the way up to sitting, breathing all the way up to sit. And exhale, melt your shoulders down away from your ears. And slowly let your eyes float open. Good evening. With an inhale, take your arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, press your breath out, pull your belly in. Palms turn up, repeat. Inhale, arms up. And exhale, melting down. Oh, how about one more? Do it for the children. Great big inhale all the way up. And exhale. You get an hour or 2, hour and a half maybe away from the children. Yay. One more great big inhale all the way up. And this time drop your left hand down to your lap. The hand or maybe the forearm will rest on your thigh. Inhale, stretch your right arm up and over into a side stretch. You're supporting yourself with that bottom hand or elbow on your thigh. You're not just collapsing over. There is a little support pushing into that bottom hand to bulge your side ribs up towards the sky a little bit more. Now lifting your ribs off your waist and side stretching. Top palm is flat towards the ground. Your side ribs are flaring open. And I'm leaving you there long enough that you have to breathe at least once or twice. Can you feel that inhale lift you up, bob up a little bit? And exhale, stretch over a little bit more. How about one more bobbing breath? Inhale. Exhale, stretching. And then with an inhale, come all the way up. And release. Just take a moment to feel the blood flow back down into that arm. Inhale, both arms up, lifting up. And exhale, float down. Drop your shoulders. Again, you have a comfortable, optimal distance between your legs so that you're not holding them in any one position or another. They just rest. And your shins are directly over your heels and your toes are spread out. And everything is just settled and comfortable, effortless even. Inhaling up and overhead. And release that right hand to your lap. Maybe your elbow rests on your lap. Inhale, stretch up through that left arm. And tip over. We'll be here for a few breaths. So get used to it. Settle into it. And lower body completely relaxed. Elbow, bottom arm supporting you a little bit so you can push into your side ribs. Even as you stretch, palm flat towards the floor, fingers flared out. Breathing, feel that inhale lift you up. And that exhale stretch you out. How about 3 more nice deep breaths here? And then with your next inhalation, lift up. And exhale, release. All right. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, left hand down. Hand on your thigh, maybe your elbow on your thigh. As you inhale, stretch up long through that right arm. Turn that top armpit towards your face. Give yourself a pat on the back. And let your shoulders melt down away from your ears. Inhale, sitting tall, lifting up tall through the crown of your head. You can reach across with that left hand and pull that right elbow behind your head a little bit further. Check in with your legs. Release any tension in your thighs, in your butt. Breathe. And release. Second verse, same as the first. Inhale, both arms all the way up and overhead. And exhale, right hand to your lap. Turn that left armpit towards your face and bend that top elbow. Hand comes behind your head. Inhaling, sitting tall. Exhale, settling your shoulders. And then maybe pulling that left elbow behind your head a little bit further, plugging that arm down into the shoulder joint. Breathing. One more inhale here. And exhale, release. Palms turn forward, shoulder shrug, great big yawn. Hands on your lap. Maybe butt walk, wiggle, walk your hips forward to the front edge of your chair seat. Again, legs a comfortable distance apart. Feet elevated enough so you have a nice flat lap. Shoulders back and down, chest lifts up, sitting tall. And as you exhale, press into your lap, bow, round your back, tuck your chin to your chest. Pulling on your knees, inhale, sit tall. And exhale, gut punch, pull your belly in, press all your breath out. Pelvic thrust, tilt. Pull on your knees, inhale, sit up. And exhale, back and forth, moving through your cat and cow, seated version, letting your arms push and pull, your hands push and pull you, back and forth, cat and cow, moving with your breath. Inhaling, chest coming forward. Exhaling, pulling your belly in, slouching back. How about 2 more breaths here? And then next time you sit up, stay up. All right, you're going to bring your feet narrow. That means if your feet are on blocks, you got to bring the blocks with you. Feet narrow. If you have a free block to put between your knees, go ahead, give it a hug on the narrow setting. That block between your knees will help you keep that pelvic floor engaged. You want to keep the pelvic floor engaged, not the butt cheeks. So spread those cheeks. Make sure you are securely fastened, settled into the very front edge of the chair seat, and you're not going to fall off. Squeeze the brick. Feet parallel, pointing straight forward, about hip width apart. Big inhale, both arms all the way up and overhead. Palms turn forward. As you exhale, bend your elbows. Bring your arms out to the side like cactus. Inhale, reach for the sky. And exhale, drive those shoulder blades together down on your back. How about 2 more? Big inhale, up, up, up. And exhale, pull down, down, down. One more time, reach for the sky. And this time, pull those shoulder blades down together on your back. Reach back, find the backrest of the chair. Keep those shoulders down and together as you work your hands a little higher up on the backrest of the chair. Only bring your hands high as they're willing to go, and as your shoulders stay low. So hands go up high, only if your shoulders stay low. You're going to have to lean forward, chest sticking out. Eventually, if your hands make it to the top of the chair, you're going to work your hands narrow. Try putting your pinky fingers side by side. Squeeze the block. Jut your chest out in front of you. Breathe. Big chesty breaths. All right, chin to your chest. One hand at a time, come to your lap. Keep squeezing that brick, don't drop it. Press into your hands, round your back, coming into a big slouch. Holding onto your knees, inhale, chest forward. Sit up. Oh, yeah. Keep squeezing that brick. Palms turn forward. Great big shoulder shrug. Inhale, up. Exhale, back and down. Keep those shoulder blades down. As you inhale, take your arms up. Palms forward. Exhale, cactus arms. Drive your elbows and shoulder blades together on your back. Heads on level, neutral and straight. Looking forward. Big inhale all the way up. Left hand comes down to the chair seat or maybe the chair back. Right arm comes up. Squeeze the block. Don't let it go anywhere. And bring that right arm diagonal across. Squeezing onto the brick will help keep your knees even, keep your hips from shifting. As you turn to look over your right shoulder, pulling your front ribs, pulling your belly. That backhand can work itself around to the backrest of the chair. You might even be able to put your forearm on the backrest of the chair. Continue to turn your chest. Checking out what's going on behind you. Drop your shoulders down away from your ears. And then turn back to look towards the screen, probably over your right shoulder. Shoulders are down. Might be able to see yourself in the screen. Are your knees still even? You haven't shifted your hips. And then go ahead, release. Oh. Big inhale, arms up and overhead. Cactus arms, palms forward. Exhale, drive your elbows, shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach for the sky. And exhale, drop that right hand behind. Left arm comes diagonal across. Hands on the knee, but I'm not pushing or pulling the knees anywhere. They stay directly over my heels. Knees narrow, squeezing on the brick. Turning to look behind me, I'm going to work that back arm, maybe the forearm, onto the backrest of the chair. Check out that back shoulder and drop it. Breathe. And then turn your head forward to look over your left shoulder and spy with your little eye whether or not those shoulders are level, whether or not your knees are even. If you can truly cultivate a torso twist without moving your pelvis. And then unwind. Now you get to move your hips, your feet, your legs. Go wide. And if you have feet on blocks, you got to take your blocks wide as well. How wide can you go? Again, you're sitting on the very front edge of your chair seat, and you've lifted and separate, and you've adhered yourself to the front edge of that chair seat as best you can with your legs nice and wide. Your hands are propped on the insides of your legs. You can have your fingers turned in or turned out. You can even be on fists. Whatever your carpal tunnel wants you to do, you do that. Shoulders up, back, and down. You're going to keep your elbows bent. Turn to look over your right shoulder. Drop that left elbow into your lap. Space between your legs. So let that left shoulder, that left elbow pitch forward and drop down towards the ground. You're looking over your right shoulder. That right shoulder is drawing down your back. You're turning your head and you're breathing. And you're taking deep breaths, trying to get breath underneath that right shoulder blade. And you do that and relax your butt cheeks. And you do that and relax your toes. And lift that left shoulder up away from the ground. Shrug it onto your back. Big inhale, both arms up and overhead. Palms turn forward. As you exhale, cactus your arms. Drive your elbows and shoulder blades together. Good. Hands come to your lap. Fingers in, fingers out, up on fist, whatever. Now turn to look over your left shoulder and drop that right shoulder blade, that right elbow forward and down towards the ground. You're turning to look behind you over that top shoulder, pulling that top shoulder down away from your face so you can see what's going on behind. Once again, check in with your toes. Check in with your butt. Breathe into that space underneath the right shoulder blade. One more nice deep breath here. Exhaling, twisting a little bit more. And then inhale, shoulder shrug up onto your back. Good. Big inhale, both arms all the way up and overhead. Cactus your arms, palms turn forward. Exhale, drive those elbows and shoulder blades together. Good. Reaching back to the backrest of the chair once again. Shoulders back and down, hands crawling up. Now your legs are wide. Maybe you can bring your chest a little bit further forward. Breathe. Got high blood pressure issues, you just had a large meal, for whatever reason, you don't want to drop your head again. That was a little too much for you at the beginning of class. You can stay here. You're getting a lovely chest opener and a bit of a shoulder stretch. Those of you who want to do another forward fold, bring your hands to your lap. Exhale, slouch back for just a moment. Shoulder shrug up, back and down. You'll be bringing your hands together behind your back in a forward fold. And again, your knees are wide enough apart so that your knees stay over your ankles. Your toes stick out past your knees. Everybody's shoulder blades are pulling away from their ears. Everybody has a nice wrinkle of skin between their shoulder blades. Everybody's breathing. If you've come into the forward fold with me, you're going to bring your hands to your hips, hands onto your lap, and again, press into your hands. Use your arms to push yourself back up to sitting. All right. You have the option to repeat. Hands behind your back, chest sticking forward. If you like that, you can go there again. I'm going to angle myself here. Some of you might want to take Purvatanasana, reverse plank. A little bit of an arm challenge. To get into reverse plank, I'm going to bring my hands right to the edge of the chair seat corners. I'm going to inch my toes out in front of it. Shoulders up, back, and down. Chest sticks out. Pelvic thrust. Chin draws back on a conveyor belt, and I let my head fall backward over that nice wrinkle of skin between my shoulder blades. Pelvic thrust. Hips up. Some of you might be brave enough to straighten your legs. I'm not quite that brave. I don't trust this chair that much. Some of you might go there. And you're breathing. So options, options, options. Some of you are there with your hips thrust high into the sky. Others of you are holding onto the backrest of the chair and just sticking their chest out, kind of like the lady on the bow of a ship. And everybody's getting a big chest opener, one way or the other. All right. If you are doing the pelvic thrust, you're slowly going to find the chair seat with your hips and then tip your head on front. Everybody's hands drift forward onto their lap. Check your feet. Make sure your heels are underneath your knees. Sit bones spread nice and wide. Shoulders up, back, and down. And just take a moment to find your equilibrium. Settle back in. I'm going to take my chair. I'm going to face forward once again. And now we're going to go for a side flank pose or side angle pose, Purvatanasana. To get there, you're going to inch yourself forward on the front edge of your chair seat. You're going to lift up your right knee. Bring that right knee up. Take that right knee open out to the side and set the foot down flat. And when you set the foot down, make sure the heel is underneath the knee. Your toes are turned out, pointing in the same direction as that knee. This is your left leg. You're going to let that left knee fall in. You're going to wiggle that left leg straight back. So you're sitting on this chair. This chair seat is taking the weight of your right thigh. Your down on it. You're solid and secure. If it's too low for you, put some blankets, put some padding on it. You're going to be twisting towards the backrest of the chair. So you're going to start with a good shoulder shrug, up, back, and down. Oh, I said side flank first. We'll take a twist first, I guess. I'm in the mood for a twist. You're going to take your right shoulder, shoulder shrug your right shoulder up, back, and down. Bring that right hand behind you, maybe to your sacrum, your tailbone, or the chair seat, or the chair backrest. Take your left arm up and diagonal across, putting the back of your hand to the outside of your knee. Twisting, looking behind you. See what's going on. And then unwind. All right, we're going to pivot on the toes of that left foot. So drop your left heel in and down. That both feet are down on the ground. Shoulders up, back, and down. This is your right elbow on your lap. Inhale, left arm up alongside your ear. Coming into your side angle, side flank pose. If you last week and we did the belt around the thigh thing, when we did this pose last week with the belt went over the right thigh and underneath that left heel. So try pushing that right thigh bone down hard against the chair seat. Try lifting your side ribs, your waist, your pelvis off that thigh bone. Get nice and long. Pressing into that back heel like you're stomping down on a belt. Breathing. Both shoulders shrug down away from your ears. This is your left hand flat towards the ground. Take that left arm straight out in front of you like you're wiping a table. Smack the table, shrug that top shoulder onto your back. Continue to wipe that table until that arm is pointing to your left. And let your head fall off. And nod your head, chin up, chin down. Tuck and untuck your chin. Feel that stretch on the side of your neck. And with your head nice and heavy, both shoulders shrugged away from your ears, let's resume that side plank. So just let your head be where it is now. Take that top hand, wipe a table out in front of you, and bring that arm alongside your ear for a second time. Both shoulders down away from your ears. Some of you might find that you're melting into this a little bit further, and maybe that bottom shoulder's hunching up by the bottom ear. Maybe you want to take that bottom hand, slide it down the outside of your leg. Maybe bringing the right fingertips down by your ankle. So a deeper version of this side plank. Hanging out in this pose a lot longer than we usually do. Taking a nice deep side stretch. Now you got to get out of this. So with an inhale, lift that top hand up. Use the bottom hand to help you come up. And let's switch sides. Oh. Pivoting, rotating, turning around. We're going to start with a twist first. So get your left thigh on it. So it's like your left thigh and left butt cheek. The right leg is kind of hanging off. You're going to wiggle that right leg straight back behind you. Make sure you've inched the front foot forward, your left foot forward enough so that knee is directly over the heel, the toes stick out past your knee. Find your belly. Find your left hand. Take that left hand behind you. Maybe finding the hand on the sacrum, the tailbone, seat of the chair, or the backrest of the chair, so that you can take your right arm up, diagonal across. See what's going on behind you. Both shoulders down, chest is lifted. When we did a variation of this last week with the belt, it was across your left thigh bone. So let your left thigh bone be very heavy on that chair seat. Trying to pull your belly, your ribs away from that thigh bone stapled to the chair seat. Pressing hard into the back heel. And then unwind. And as you unwind, you're going to pivot on the toes of that right foot, drop that right heel down. Turn your torso forward. Swinging your left knee open to the left. Right foot comes down to the ground. Shoulders back and down. Your left hand on your lap. Right arm comes up. Pushing that thigh bone down, lifting your torso out of your hips, and then coming over into that side stretch. Still pushing that thigh bone hard against the chair seat. And maybe your elbow comes onto your lap. And you can shrug that shoulder away from your ear. Top palm is flat to the ground. Really settle that left thigh bone. Staple your left thigh bone to the chair seat. Press hard into that straight leg. That straight leg is active. Top palm is flat to the floor, and you're going to wipe the table out in front of you. Smack that table, shrug your top shoulder onto your back a little bit more. Continue to wipe the table until your right hand is pointing out to the side and your head hangs off. Drool. Shoulders down away from your ears as you nod your head, chin down, chin up. You're nodding your head. Yes, you like this next stretch. I know I do, at least. Just nodding your head. Pressing through your right fingertips. Slack jaw, breathing. And then head comes to neutral, still hanging, still falling off. Bottom shoulder shrugging away from your ears. Let's take that top hand, wipe that table out in front of you. Bring that top arm right alongside your head and power out through the fingertips, like you're shooting lasers through your fingertips and through your heel. That entire side line. Nice slash through the air, maybe even a little bit more curved down towards the ground. Speaking of curving down towards the ground, if you're starting to get bunched up in your side waist, let that left hand slide down the outside of the leg, maybe down towards the ankle. Make sure your thigh bone is stapled to the chair seat. You're breathing. Your head's hanging off. You're just melting into a deeper and deeper and deeper side stretch, hanging out in this pose a lot longer than you normally would. And then finally, with an inhale, come all the way up, and about halfway, you might help yourself up with that bottom arm. That was a big stretch. Oh. And just take a moment to let the blood settle back in. I'm going to stand up. I'm going to turn my chair. You figure out how you want to be oriented. I'm going to turn my chair. I'm always trying to position myself so I'm not having you look between my legs the whole class. All right, so this is my right leg, and I'm putting my right foot on my chair seat. On the floor is my left leg. Maybe I hop that left foot back a little bit, take a little longer stride. I'm squaring my hips, pointing all 10 toes in the direction of the chair seat. I might pick up that back heel and swing the back heel a little wide and stretch it straight back down. Hips are squared towards the chair. Shoulders up, back, and down. You're going to lean forward. I recommend putting your belly and everything on the inside of that thigh. Maybe wiggle the chair on the seat, the foot on the chair seat a little bit wider. Everything on the inside, arch side of that front foot. Good. Holding onto the chair back. Straighten and bend. You're going to work your chest forward, your hips back as you straighten and bend. Think about sticking your booty out. Flip those sit bones up and then do the opposite. Drive your hips forward. Drop your tailbone as low as it will go. Keep your back heels stretching straight back so you get a little bit of a calf stretch, an Achilles tendon stretch on that back leg. The heel just floats up, you're kind of cheating yourself out of a stretch. You're pressing that back heel down as low as it's willing to go. Good. And you might find after a couple repetitions, well, you might need to inch your toes a little further back on the chair and bring your hands to the front edge of the chair seat because you're getting a little bit lower. Maybe you're taking a little bit longer stride between your feet as you lunge in and out, back and forth. And then shifting forward, maybe hopping forward, stepping off. Ooh, just take a moment to let the blood flow back in, maybe jiggle a little bit. Then you're going to set up and do the same thing on the other side. Again, make sure you've got a nice, stable, sturdy chair or it's backed up against a wall so it's not going to slide away from you. Step up with that left foot. Let the left foot wiggle to the outside edge of the chair seat. Maybe take that back foot, hop it a little wider over to the right so you have some length and width between your feet. And that width between your feet helps you to square your hips. Shoot your hip bones straight forward at that chair. All right, you're going to shift forward, find the backrest of the chair, letting your torso, everything come on the inside of that front leg. You're just going to work it back and forth. And you might find eventually that this front knee is really bending. It's sticking out past the toes there. So you might want to inch that foot on the chair seat towards the back of the chair seat and put your hands on the front edge of the chair seat so that you can continue to lunge, maybe take a bigger stride between your feet. Lunge back and forth without that bent knee jutting forward past your toes. So you have to lengthen the stride between your feet. All right. This is all warming up stuff. All right, we're going to release out of that. Now we're going to make our way down for a deep quadricep stretch. Now there's lots of options on quadricep stretches. If you don't have knees that bend comfortably, deeply, you got knee issues, you might be better served sitting one thigh on, one butt cheek on, the other off, and maybe just reaching back, taking hold of that foot. Here it is. You can do a quadricep stretch this way. No pressure on your bent knee. Shoulders back, chest lifted, pelvic thrust like a champ. You can really get a strong quadricep stretch here if this is more appropriate for you. And make sure you're well supported. Another option is down on the ground, backing up against the chair. Now I'm going to put some padding because this is intense on the knees. I'm going to put some padding underneath my knees. I'm going to back on up. This happens to be my left foot, doesn't matter which. Put a foot up on the chair seat, ankle on the chair lip. It's good if the chair is against a wall so it doesn't slide away. And then the other foot comes forward in a lunge. Again, this is where if you have blanket and you need to put some blanket against the chair seat, if you got metal chair, wooden chair, and it's digging into your bony foot, you can put a blanket over the lip of the chair. I'm doing it without a blanket just so you can see exactly where my foot is resting here, how it's resting. I've got my thigh angling back and down. My knee is narrow. It's not out to the side. I'm trying to square my hips forward as best I can. Hands on blocks, inching that front foot a little bit wider, maybe dropping down a little bit lower in that lunge. Shoulders back and down, chest lifted. And just like we did standing, we're going to push into the blocks, back your hips up, butt cheek to heel, then drive your hips forward. So you're just really juicing up this lunge, back and forth. How about you do a couple more of those? I think I need some padding on my chair there. Couple more of those, because by now, hopefully you are warmed up to back your hips up, butt cheek and heel coming together, hands finding, I wanted to show you where I was grabbing the chair seat, but I got a mat there covering it up. Hands finding the chair seat and chest sticking out. Front ribs and belly pull in as you pelvic thrust, zip up your tight yoga pants. And that should give you one heck of a quadricep stretch. It's that pelvic thrust zipping up your tight pants move that makes it that much more fun. You can push into the front foot and back your hips up even further. And then release. Now you get to do the same thing on the other side. So again, there's the option to just be seated, one thigh, one butt cheek on, let the other knee hang off, reach back, grab that ankle, heel to butt. You don't have to grind your knee into the ground. Or if you like it a little bit rough, we're switching and doing the other side. This happens to be my left leg in front. Right and left's a little confusing. Just make sure you're doing the other side. Front foot inches forward, even turns out to the side a little bit, so I can drive my hips straight forward and get down low. Blocks underneath my hands. Make sure that front toe sticks out past the knee, and then you can work it. Shift your weight back and front, back and forth, to and fro, hither and thither. Move it all around. And when you are pushing back, your hip comes back, your butt comes back close to that heel. Well, then you can resume that lunge. Shrug your shoulders back, lift your chest up, maybe find the chair seat with your hands. And let your shoulder blades come down your back. Chin is slightly tucked, your front ribs are tucked in, and you are pelvic thrusting. Get the deep stretch down the front of your right thigh. Pelvic thrust. Breathe. I'm endeavoring to keep my hips level on this one. You're going to get a stretch regardless. All right, and then release. We're going to continue preparing. This is all just warming up, preparing for the fun stuff. Now with an upper back stretch, an upper back bend. Now I'm going to turn my chair so that I'm at the back of the chair, because there's lots of different levels to grab hold of on the back side of the chair. I want these varying heights. I recommend padding underneath your hip bones. Ooh, there's a moth. Padding underneath your hip bones. You get the lovely rear view of me on this one so that you can see what my arms are doing. So hip bones down on some padding. Toes curled under, shimmy your legs narrow, close to one another. Again, there's 2 cameras on me. You might prefer one view over the other, so choose your own adventure there. Chair out in front. You're gonna reach out, hold on, low on the chair. There's really no good place for your head, so you might turn your cheek. Rest on your cheek and breathe. I saw my toes curl under. I'm still shimmying my legs narrow, keeping my legs stapled together. I'm gonna untuck my toes, put the tops of my toenails down on the mat. Simple, simple. Now shoulders shrug down my back, like I'm pulling the chair towards me. Get those shoulder blades tucked into your back waistband. You're going to widen across your upper back, rolling your armpits down towards the ground. Holding onto the chair legs, your thumbs are pointing up, like you're hitchhiking. Good. Draw your shoulder blades down your back. Pull your shoulder blades into your back waistband. Pull your heart away from the ground. Press the base of your skull up towards the sky without squeezing your butt. Good. And then glancing forward, you can bring one hand up, 2 hands up to another height. I'm about 10 inches off the ground now. My hands have moved up to a little bit higher height. And I mean, I might need to pull the chair in a little closer to myself to get there. Shoulder blades are still pinned down my back, armpits wrapping around towards the ground. Thumbs hitchhiking straight up. Chin is slightly tucked. Pelvic thrust. Click toenails down against the mat. Maybe lift your kneecaps up. Press your toenails down to lift your kneecaps up. You're doing a pelvic thrust. You're tucking in your front ribs. Your shoulder blades are sliding down your back, and you're pressing the base of your skull up towards the ceiling, lifting your torso up a little bit higher, maybe glancing forward and bringing your hands one at a time a little bit higher, maybe up onto the seat of the chair. When your hands come to the seat of the chair, you want to try to maintain that outward rotation of the arms. You still want those hitchhiking thumbs pointing up as much as possible. So if you were to glance at your arms right now, your armpits are turning down towards the ground. The pale skin on your inner arms is turned towards your face. Chin is slightly tucked. Pelvic thrust tilt. Press the front of your hip bones, your pubic bone down into the ground. Press your toenails down into the ground and relax your butt. And for bonus points, you breathe. Find that bobbing breath. Inhaling up. And exhaling, stretching. How about one more bob up? And exhale, shoulder blades down your back, stretching. Maybe melting your heart down through your arms towards the ground, forehead down towards the ground. All the while, armpits lifted up off the mat. Shoulders wide across your back, thumbs hitchhiking out to the side. Pelvic thrust. Toenails click down, kneecaps lift up, and your booty is soft. As much as you can let it go, let it go. Inhale, bob up, and slowly rest one hand, both hands down on the ground. You can make a pillow out of the back of your hands, turn and rest your cheek on it, and then jiggle your hips side to side. Wiggle your butt. Breathe. All right. We're going to transition. Elbows beneath your shoulders. Chin tucked to your chest. Exhale, lift your ribs away from the mat. Press into your elbows, lift your belly away from the mat, and then crawl back into your child's pose. Move back into your downward facing dog. Child's pose or down dog, whatever works for you. And take your happy dog for a walk if you're doing a down dog. If you're working that child's pose, work it. Breathe into it. Dramatically round your back, tucking your chin into your chest. Breathe. Make it feel good. In that downward facing dog, you're going to make your way towards the front edge of the mat. Child's pose, you're going to make your way up to standing. Everybody's going to come all the way up to standing. Adjust your cameras for dancer pose. I'm standing with my right hand on the chair back. Shoulders up, back, and down. This chair is just here for balance sake. We're going to be in this dancer pose for a while, so you might consider using it. Even though you're awesome and you got the best balance in town, I'm going to leave you there longer than I usually do, so you might consider having that chair and actually using it. Also, if you have a belt, you might know you need a belt to grab a hold of your ankle. Have that belt available for ankle grabbing, because we're going to go for dancer pose. Start with a good shoulder shrug. Inhale up. Exhale back, head down, palms turned forward. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Cactus arms as you drive your elbows, shoulder blades down together on your back. Your palms are still turned forward. Inhale, up. This time, turn your palms to face back behind you to wrap your armpits around toward your chest. Get ready for it. Prepare with an inhale. And as you exhale, crunch, drive your elbows towards your lap. Pelvic thrust, tilt, try bringing your lap towards your elbows. You're going to reach back with your left hand. Right hand can hold the chair. Reach back with your left hand. Grab a hold of that foot. Shoulders up, back, and down. Pelvic thrust. Legs are narrow. Standing knee is unlocked. Slightly bent. Shoulders back and down. You're probably fine oriented the way you are. I'm turning sideways so you can see my grip a little better. When I just reach back and grab a hold of the ankle, I want to work my hand around to the inside arch side of the foot. I'm showing you the pale skin of my inner arm. I've got my thumb and toe together. Big toe print and thumb print coming together. Pelvic thrust, abs are nice and strong. Standing knee unlocked. Holding onto the chair, begin to kick back. Kick, 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 kick. Hard. Standing knee is still soft. You're still trying to keep your hips squared forward. It means push that front right hip bone forward even more. Kicking, 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 kicking. Breathing, 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 breathing. Trying to stay as upright as possible. Kicking a little bit more. Shoulders down, chest lifted. Keeping your heart lifted upward. Kicking, 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 kicking. Think about rolling the pocket change out of your right hip pocket. And then slowly release. Told you I'd leave you there longer than usual. Slowly come out of that one. Shoulder shrug up, back, and down. Reset. Move on over to the other side. That's actually good there. Standing on the other side. Shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Palms forward, cactus arms. Drive your elbows and shoulder blades together onto your back. Inhale, shoot up. Exhale, turn your palms to face back behind you. Elbows narrow. Once again, prepare with an inhale. And as you exhale, drive your elbows towards your lap towards your elbows. You're turning on your abs, and you're going to keep them turned on. Drop back both hands. Grab a hold of the foot. Grab a hold of the chair. Shoulder shrug up, back, and down. Lift your heart up. Pelvic thrust. Legs are narrow. You're going to work that hand around the outside, from the outside of the foot to the inside of the foot. Thumb print and toe print coming together if you can cultivate that. Shoulders back and down, chest lifted, pelvic thrust. Zip up your tight yoga pants. Hold on to the chair. Don't be shy about using it. Standing knee is soft. And you begin to kick. Naturanjasana, dancer pose. Kick, 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 kick. And breathe. And kick. And breathe and kick and breathe and kick. And continue to roll that left hip forward. Dumping pocket change out of that left hip pocket. Breathing. Kicking back. Trying to stay upright as best you can. Kicking back as best you can. Breathing. Working on squaring and leveling your hips as best you can. And then slowly release. Ho, ho, ho. Just take a moment neutral. You don't want to snap from that dramatic back bend into a forward fold right away. So just take a moment to neutralize. In fact, to help you neutralize a little bit more, we're going to do another standing pose, tree pose. So if I'm mirroring you, I've got my right hand on the chair. I'm going to put all my weight on the left foot. Shoulders up, back, and down. I'm going to spin my right knee out to the side and put foot against thigh, thigh against foot, either above or below the knee. So pick where you want to go with that one. Sometimes skin sticks to skin best. Foot against thigh, thigh against foot, if you're going there, either above or below the knee. Standing knee is soft. You're holding onto the chair. So you're going to be here for a while. Shoulders up, back, and down. Left arm up and overhead. You're going to push foot against thigh, thigh against foot hard, and lift up that pelvic floor. Lift up your heart. Heads on level and straight. And turn your armpit towards your face, like you're checking for deodorant. Lift ribs out of your hips. Both sides of your rib cage off your waist. Thigh bones pressing towards the back of the leg. Hamstrings. Stretching. Good. Inhale. Now you're going to tip over towards the bent knee. That's why I recommend holding onto the chair. And tip over towards the bent knee. And push foot against leg, leg against foot, and tip over towards the bent knee. Go for a pure side stretch. Oh, and feel that side stretch. And breathe. Foot against leg, leg against foot, standing knee unlocked, toes are spread. And you're pressing out through your fingertips. Breathing into your side body. Shrug that bottom shoulder away from your face. Keep on breathing. Some of you might be tempted to reach back, give yourself a pat on the back. Some of you might want to show off, begin to straighten up, and maybe let go of the chair and connect fingertips between your shoulder blades. But believe me, no one's looking. Just breathe, whatever you choose to do. And then gracefully release. And let's switch sides. Vrikshasana, tree pose, variation with a chair. All right. So if I am mirroring you, shifting all the weight over to the right leg, spin that left knee out. Foot goes against leg, leg goes against foot. And I'm all about showing the skin here. Foot against thigh, thigh against foot. Skin sticks to skin really good usually. Shoulders back, chest lifted. Breathing. Toes are spread, standing knee unlocked, foot presses against leg, leg presses against foot. Chest lifting up, standing up as tall and upright as you can. Inhale, that right arm comes up alongside your ear, palm towards midline, armpit towards face. Breathing. Then begin to take it into a side stretch. Foot against leg, leg against foot. Standing knee unlocked. Breathing. Maybe that bottom shoulder drops away from your ear. Maybe that bottom elbow starts to slip behind the thigh. Then maybe give yourself a pat on the back and slowly come all the way up to standing. And maybe touch fingertips between your shoulder blades. Like I said, it's not your grandma's chair yoga class. I challenge you in some of these poses. And then go ahead, release. Oh. And shift your weight from side to side. more or less staying neutral, just kind of going side to side. You're going to take that chair out in front of you. So I'm angling sideways again, so you can see the profile. You'll probably find just facing the TV, whatever you're looking at the screen. Hands go on the back of the chair, and you're going to step back and sway your hips side to side. And start to work your back down into a flat tabletop position. Feet are wide, about as wide as the mat, and you're shifting your weight all the way from one hip all the way to the other, tick-tocking your hips side to side. Breathing. You're going to bend your knees, step forward. Turn that chair around. Again, position yourself so that you're looking straight into the screen. I'm turned sideways again so you can see the profile view better. I'm going to start with my hands on the backrest of the chair. I'm standing close. My shins are banging up against the chair seat. This is my right foot. I'm going to take my right foot back. Again, the idea is to be on two separate lines, two sides of a imaginary midline. So I've got one foot on pink and one foot on purple. There's width between my feet. Start with my hands on the backrest of the chair. You can leave your hands on the backrest of the chair or put your hands on the seat of the chair, whatever allows you to maintain a flat tabletop back. Going to lengthen that distance between your feet, maybe widen the width between your feet as well, so you can square your hips forward. If your right leg is back, you're going to drop your right hip pocket down towards the ground. You're going to pull your left thigh bone back into socket. As you pull both legs straight, stretch that inner right heel straight back down towards the ground. It may or may not touch the ground. Flat tabletop back, shoulders down away from the ears, grow your spine nice and long. And your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to lower your heart between your arms, soften into that space between the shoulder blades. And then if it works for you, maybe start to bring elbows down to the chair seat, as long as you can still soften that space between the shoulder blades. If that space between the shoulder blades sticks out like a stegosaurus, you've gone too far. You might need to back up out of the pose a little bit so that that space between the shoulder blades is like a valley, a crevice, like back cleavage between the shoulder blades. Shoulders down, your back, heart lower than your belly. Let your heart be lower than your belly. Lift your belly up, but soften your heart down. Do all of that as you breathe. And then soften your knees, step forward. Cha-cha-cha. I like to start from the beginning with hands on the backrest of the chair and switch sides. Go along with that left leg, length and width between the feet. So think opposite diagonal corners of the mat. Hands can be on the backrest of the chair if that lets you just soften between the shoulder blades. If not, if it works for you, you might consider putting your hands on the seat of the chair. And again, the challenge is to soften your heart through your shoulder blades. Shoulders down away from the ears. Pulling both legs straight, stretching that inner left heel straight back. Dumping pocket change out of the left hip pocket. Only softening your chest, lowering maybe down to your elbows if you can keep back cleavage. Keep a soft heart. And then step forward. All right, hands on the seat of the chair. I'm going to step back into halfway between a box pose and a down dog. So step back, let your feet be a nice mat width apart, heels more or less underneath the hips. And softening between the shoulder blades, lift your thumbs up towards the sky. So rotate your hands to be on the pinky finger edge of your hands, thumbs hitchhiking straight up. Armpits wrapping around towards your face, shoulders lifting away from the ground as you soften your heart and hang your head. So two different things in equal measure, simultaneous opposition to one another. Armpits up towards the sky, head and heart down towards the ground. And the more you can thumbs up with your entire arm, not just the hands, rotate the entire arm to push your thumbs up, the more comfortable your shoulders will be. As you sway your hips from side to side. And breathe. So if you were hanging your head, looking into one armpit and looking into the other, your armpits are dome-shaped. They're lifting away from the ground. They are not bulging out. They're hollow pits. And then a hollow pit, lift your shoulders up, bend your knees, start to step forward, round your back into a forward fold, head hanging. I've walked in fairly close to the chair. I'm pushing into my hands. I'm tucking my tail, tucking my chin. Really trying to press that mid-shoulder blade skyward. And then soften back to neutral. All right, we've got another twist. Standing close to the chair. Go ahead, take a step back with your, I'm going to have you step back with your right foot. I don't know, pick a foot. Step back with a foot. I'm stepping back with my left. Stepping back with the left foot, wiggle the right foot a little bit wider, all 10 toes pointing towards the chair seat. Shoulders back and down away from the ears. Maybe pull that chair in towards you a little bit more so that your arms can be straight down underneath your shoulders. So maybe you end up with your foot underneath the chair seat a little bit. Shoulders back and down away from the ears. Pull your belly in. Lengthen your spine nice and long. And then if you have your left leg back, you're going to leave your left hand on the chair seat and sweep your right arm open for a revolved triangle. So you're twisting towards the front leg. And then you're going to squeeze your thighs together like you got to pee. And twist a little bit more towards the front leg. Squeeze your thighs together like you got to pee. Take that top hand forward like you're high-fiving somebody. Push that top hand forward like you're high-fiving somebody and shrug that top shoulder onto your back and rotate your chest a little bit more. You've got a hand on the chair seat. You might even pop up on the fingertips and get even more rotation in your torso. And squeeze your thighs together. And high-five an imaginary friend and twist a little bit more. And then unwind. Ooh. I'm going to step forward and let's switch sides. Stand close. Step back right foot. Maybe inch that front foot forward or drag the chair back so that your hands can be straight down underneath your shoulders. All 10 toes pointing in the same direction. Your feet are on two separate skis, doing French fries, skiing forward. Shoulders back and down away from your ears, lengthening through your torso, getting nice and long, flat back. Kind of angled, but nice and flat. Your right leg is back, your right hand is on the chair seat, and your left arm sweeps up and open as you revolve your triangle pose. It is so tempting to yank yourself around by the hand. Try taking that top hand forward and get your shoulder blade on your back and activate those muscles in your side ribs. If you're ticklish in the side ribs, activate those tickle muscles in those top side ribs to pull that shoulder blade onto your back. And then think about rotating your chest, your top breast, more so than the arm. Skyward. Bottom of shoulder shrugs away from your ears, and you squeeze your thighs together like you gotta pee, and you twist a little bit more. And your hand is on the chair seat. Maybe you pop up on your fingertips and you twist a little bit more. And you breathe. Both legs straight and strong if you can get them there. And you unwind. And you're going to make your way down to a downward facing dog. So moving the chair out of the way for a few moments here. Downward facing dog to help neutralize that strong twist. Downward facing dog. And then crawl forward, crawl up that chair, come all the way up to standing. I have once again turned my chair I'm going to cover my metal chair here with a little bit of padding. Hopefully you can still see basically where the chair seat is though. Again, right and left is really confusing, so I'm just going to start by putting my right foot up on the chair seat. And then I'm going to work my right foot over to the left and try putting that right shin down on the chair seat, kind of like a knee shin. And then holding onto the chair back, I can wiggle my left leg back. So it's like a pigeon pose, a flying pigeon on a chair, pigeon on a sculpture pose, pigeon on public art. Breathe. All right, wiggling that back leg back, 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 settling into this pigeon. It's a different angle than what you're used to. Shoulders back and down, chest lifted. Keep that back leg straight and strong. Push hard into that back heel. So not only is it a pigeon pose, but it can also be a hip flexor stretch in the front of that left thigh if you really power that left leg straight. I'm keeping myself upright. It gives me a slightly different feel. Angling forward, it might put more weight on that hip. A different angle on that hip. Keep that back leg straight. Breathing. Now, some of you don't do pigeon. You don't do this variation of pigeon. Hey, you can do a figure 4 stretch. So pigeon is not your thing. Have a seat. Put your ankle on your lap. Fiddle with your foot. Pick your toes, roll your ankle around. Have fun with this figure 4 seated stretch. We'll join you here in a moment. So if that pigeon thing is not your thing, have a seat. Gravity will help pull this knee out and down towards the ground. Sitting here fiddling with your foot, you're more likely to breathe and settle in. You'll be here for a few more moments. Those of you who work in the pigeon, the flying pigeon in midair, you are going to carefully bail out and switch sides. So for flying pigeon, public art pigeon, pigeon on a sculpture, put your left shin on the chair seat. My foot's hanging off, but I got the whole shin, pretty much from knee to ankle on that chair. And I'm wiggling that. For me, it's my right leg back, 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 back. Settling into this flying pigeon. Breathe. If you're sitting and you're doing the figure 4 stretch, fiddling with your foot, go ahead, switch sides. We'll be joining you in a few moments. Flying pigeon, folks. Powering the back leg straight, trying to dump the pocket change out of the left leg, if this is your left leg behind or your right leg behind, whatever hip this is my right. Dropping pocket change of that right hip pocket down towards the ground. Breathing. Going to keep that back leg nice and straight, maybe playing around with a different distribution of weight. You bow forward. All right, pigeons, bail out. And we will all sit with the right ankle crossed onto our laps. So have a seat. Again, if you need a block underneath your foot, put it in place. Find your comfy seat. I'm about halfway forward here. Halfway forward, and I'm really spreading the wealth around, so I'm well settled into the chair. Toes sticking forward. Blocks underneath the feet. Right knee comes up. Right foot flexes. Right foot comes into my lap. Some of you, it's your second time around on this side in this pose. Foot flexed. Shoulders up, back, and down. Hands find the chair seat or the backrest of the chair, and you're going to stick your chest forward. And breathe. Have a big pigeon breast, big pigeon chest. Pushing forward, shoulder blades down your back. Breathing into it. And then soften. You're gonna leave this right leg crossed on top. Shoulders up, back, and down. Palms are turned forward as you inhale, arms all the way up and overhead. Palms are turned forward as you exhale. Cactus your arms, drive your elbows and shoulder blades together onto your back. Inhale, reach for the sky. And exhale, drop your left hand down. Right arm stretches up and comes diagonal across. Hand to heel. Shoulders down, chest lifted. Sit tall, make it look good. Inhale, breathe. Exhale, engage your abs. Pull back on your heel, push your heel into your hand as you twist. Look back behind you. The hand on the back of the chair, the backrest of the chair can help you rotate your chest a little bit more. Keep pulling back on your heel. Keep pushing your heel into your hand. Keep twisting. Keep breathing. Keep pushing. Foot into hand, hand into foot. And unwind. Take this leg up, cross it over. Maybe wiggle walk. So you're sitting at the very front edge of the chair seat. Your sit bones are right on the bony edge of that chair seat. Legs are crossed. You're going to squeeze your thighs together. Some of you might be able to tuck your toes behind your calf. Not me. Some of you might. Long enough toes, skinny enough legs. Might be able to double cross. The point is squeeze your thighs together. Tight, 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 tight. Shoulders up, back, and down. Inhale, both arms up and overhead. Keep squeezing your thighs together tight. Exhale, drive your elbows together onto your back. Inhale, stretch up. And this time as you exhale, you're going to twist the other way. So diagonal drop, right, left arm across your lap, right hand behind you, turning to look behind you. Continue to squeeze your thighs together. Maybe sliding your left arm down the outside of that top knee. Squeezing your thighs together as best you can. Forearm pressing against outer knee, maybe elbow pressing against outer knee. Rotating a little bit further. Some of you might want to push into that backrest with the backhand and angle your chest forward, maybe getting elbow to hook onto the outside of the knee to get even more rotation. Keep squeezing your thighs together and relax your toes. And unwind. Lung cross. Breathe. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So again, I'm kind of halfway forward, halfway back. Heels directly underneath my knees, toes pointing straight forward, feet about hip width apart. Left leg comes up, foot flex flat, ankle crosses onto your lap. Palms forward, shoulder shrug, inhale up. Exhale back and down, palms are forward. Inhale, both arms up. And exhale, cactus arms. Kind of like I'm doing the same thing every time, right? Big inhale all the way up. And exhale, twist that left arm diagonal across to find hand on heel. And then the other hand comes to the backrest of the chair. So once again, you're looking over your right shoulder. Hand on heel, heel on hand, pull back on the heel, heel presses into hand, and you turn. Both shoulders drop down away from your ears. Continue to breathe, pushing hand into heel, heel into hand, twisting, twisting, twisting. That right hand working its way around the backrest of the chair. Continue to rotate. And unwind. Top leg crosses all the way over. And again, you might wiggle walk the very front edge of your chair seat. So you can cross your legs, maybe double cross, take your toes behind your calf. Squeeze your legs together tight. Shoulders up, back, and down. Palms are forward. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale, reach for the sky. Exhale, diagonal across the top leg. You're twisting to look over your left shoulder. Hand can be on the seat, backrest of the chair. Turning your chest to look over your left shoulder as you squeeze your thighs together. And using your hand on the back of the chair, you might jut your chest forward or forward fold, working your elbow to the outside of the top knee, continuing to twist. Going for a nice deep twist. And then unwind. After that, you get to lie down. Put your legs up on the chair seat. There is an optional half shoulder stand, and then it's legs up the chair pose. So you're going to be down for the count after this. If you want to put on your socks, your sweater, get your pillows, your blanket, your small children, whatever you tend to sleep with, your animals nearby, we're going to be down for the count after this one. If you're going to join me with a shoulder stand, nothing underneath your head. Nothing goes underneath your head. You're going to do a shoulder stand. If you're not doing shoulder stand, oh, go ahead, put stuff underneath your head. Put stuff underneath your hips. Get all kinds of comfortable. I will show lake pose quickly, and then those of you who want to do a half shoulder stand can join me for shoulder stand. Those of you who like lake pose just gets to stay in lake pose. So I've got nice cushion padding underneath my calves so that when I lie down, my calves are nicely supported. Depending on how deep your chair is, what kind of back you have on the chair, you might be able to slip your feet one way or the other to make your feet a little bit more comfortable. Sometimes you're able to turn the chair sideways and so that your feet don't run into anything and have your legs draped over the sides of the chair from side to side. So get support underneath your calves. Get your feet comfortable. If you're staying here in lake pose, you might have a pillow underneath your head, and you can put your hands on your tummy. Throw a blanket over the top of all of this. Settle in, you're down for the count. Those of you that are staying on for a little shoulder stand action, nothing underneath your head. If you're really fancy, you might put something underneath your shoulders. I can't help you with the position of that. So if you're putting something underneath your shoulders, make sure it stays away from your neck and it's only underneath your shoulders. All right, with that said, you kind of want to wiggle in close to the chair, be able to hold onto the seat, the feet of the chair. I'm getting here fairly close. So kind of bring the whole situation in towards me. I'm holding onto the front chair feet, and I'm going to drag my feet back along the chair seat so that eventually I can push down into my heels, heel my hips up, put my feet flat as I pelvic thrust my way into your heart. Okay, lifting your chest out, puffing your chest out, working your shoulder blades underneath your body. Pelvic thrust for the camera, everybody. Shoulder stand, half shoulder stand. Hold on to the chair. Don't let it move you. Be able to breathe in whatever position you put yourself in. If you can't breathe, bail out. It's not working. You should be able to breathe, be able to talk. Doing your half shoulder stand. Completely optional, so you have to be an adult about this. If it's not working for you, then don't do it. Breathing. Whatever you've chosen to do, you are breathing. And then you might slowly come out of that. And settle in. Your lake pose. Settle in. Let your feet go floppy. Let your legs be heavy. If you want to tie your thighs together, that's even better. You can stay here even longer if you tie your thighs together. Coming up next week is pillow pile yoga. We got to get out all the couch cushions. If you like Shavasana, next week is the thing. Maybe next week we could make it a pajama pillow pile. If you're brave enough to wear your jammies to yoga class next week. That might be entertaining. Anyway, you're going to settle in. Make yourself at home. And just breathe. And you can begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Stretch your arms and legs. Stretching, moving, yawning. You're going to make your way slowly over onto your right side. And eventually make your way to a seated position. We'll finish with a shoulder shrug. A great big yawn. Inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, cactus arms. And palms together at your heart. Big inhale. Namaste. And have a wonderful day. Make sure you drink lots of water. You'll probably sleep wonderfully tonight.